Welcome back to Moon and Mike. This week we are continuing on with the fan do's and don'ts. So let's get moving. First up is a topic that there has been a lot of dialogue around, and since we're both photographers, we feel very strongly about this one. So photo licensing, watermarks, cropping out watermarks, and using photos for merch that are not yours.
I'm literally going to pull up the photo that this kind of started the dialogue around for me anyway, not like the whole conversation,
Yeah.
but this photo, stunning, of Luke Hemmings is one that I took myself at one of the many shows I went to. I don't remember which one. But when I don't get a press pass, I just take my point and shoot camera into the crowd and take photos from there. Being a Five Sauce fan, I'm usually barrier of some sort, so I'm quite close. The quality is always going to be quite good. Anyways, that photo of Luke is doing the rounds at the moment, which I'm very grateful for, except no one knows it's my photo because the way it's doing the rounds is the thing is, a visual aid again. That's my watermark, right? It's very small in the corner of the photo as to not compromise the photo itself because I, as a fan, know what you want to see because I want to see the same things. I want to see the pores, the stubble, the sweat. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And I don't want that ruined by a watermark across the face. So, yeah, that photo's doing the rounds, except my watermark has been cropped out and I'm not being credited anywhere. It's on Pinterest, it's on Instagram, it's across basically every social media. It's being edited in ways that I didn't edit it. It's being like manipulated by like people adding piercings and stuff.
Did see
Um,
that.
which is not something I did to the photo. Um, but yeah, most importantly, my watermark is being cropped out and I am not being credited, which I think is very unfair from a creative standpoint. And yes, I know that I'm like just a fan in this one specific scenario, that I am just a fan who's gone to a show and taken a nice camera and got some nice photos. However, I am a photographer. I do weddings, I do events, I do concerts. I do this outside of just being a fan. Like this is something I'm very passionate about. This is something I put my blood, sweat, and tears into. It's something I get paid for. It's not just me going tip tap and taking photos on my phone or screenshotting videos or like doing your average content around concerts that every single fan does. There's an extra level of like skill and work that goes into editing photos, posting
Oh
photos,
yeah.
doing social media rollouts and whatever. Um, the photos that I've taken of Five Sauce on this tour, I think there's like maybe 200 that I've kept, have taken me about 20 hours altogether to just
Yeah.
edit them all, and let alone do all of the social media rollouts and the postings and making my albums on my website and whatnot. Like it's a lot of effort. It's a daily task, and to see my work, my own photos, be used elsewhere. Luckily, so far, I haven't seen anyone claim it as theirs, but the lack of them claiming it's mine is still disheartening.
Yeah. It's not just Five Sauce that this happens to. I have a photo that I took because when your brother's in a band, you more often than not find that they will help you out in order to be able to photograph their show. Um, so I have this photo here of my brother he's the top one for the record, that I took. Um, I found that started doing the rounds on a couple of other social media pages, and it didn't have a watermark because I I sort of thought, oh, no one really cares about my photos, and it's not some well-known band, it probably won't go anywhere. It did. Thankfully, no one tried to claim it as theirs, but when I saw that actually even that photo started getting added to Pinterest boards called Rockstar Boyfriend, which is one that you definitely want to see your brother's face added to. Um, not. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I do need to add watermarks to all of my photos going forward. What I am seeing a lot of at the moment is people just claiming photos as theirs and just using it for whatever reasons. Because what really sucks then is whoever photos you've taken, they probably aren't profiting from that unless they're selling prints. They're not profiting from that photo. And now that you're taking it, claiming it as yours, selling merch, selling prints, selling whatever, you are. You are profiting off of somebody else's intellectual property. And that's just not fair.
It is, yeah, it's for me it's upsetting because like I have seen a few of my photos do the rounds, but mostly in very consensual ways of the artists reaching out to me and going, "Can I use this?" And I've gone, "Yeah, cool." And it's very usually just like in a dump post somewhere on Instagram. It's not like being massively worldwide spread on merch, on things, whatever. But even then, I've had fans reach out to me and ask me, "Can I use your photography in my graphics?" And then I get credited for it, and it's fantastic. Great. I'm not like this big, mighty, world famous photographer that you can't reach out to, and I'm going to ghost you. I'm not going to reply because I have hundreds and thousands of DMs of everyone asking me loads of things. That's not the case. You can message me and say, "Can I use your photo?" And I'll go, "Yeah." Or if you go, "Can I use your photo to make money?" I'll go, "No, are you insane?" Um, but it's just, you'll find as well a lot of photographers do answer messages, even the bigger ones that are better known. Um, it's just it's just a like respect thing. Like
Mm,
I know that a lot of people don't really take photographers seriously at the very least female photographers seriously. I know that's a big jump. I always get accused of being a groupie or something when I'm walking through a crowd, especially of a boy band, of going, "Who are you sleeping with to get this opportunity?" No one,
yeah.
unfortunately.
I I do have a note on that, and this is one that has just recently happened. So I'm pulling up what I tweeted. Um,
Oh, I saw that tweet.
yes, because I am once again getting these DMs because you guys
Mhm.
are insert words here that I cannot say. No, you cannot join the Groovy Moo to get an interview with your favorite person. It doesn't work like that. It's very rare that the staff I have had since day one actually do interviews. Now, most of that is because of their schedule, not because they aren't capable. But if most of the other people on staff aren't even doing interviews, what makes you think you can just roll in and interview your favorite artist because what, you want some one-on-one time with them? Not happening. Number two, I do not have the contact, professional or private, of your favorite artist. Stop messaging me. Stop messaging people in my team. We don't have it, and even if we did, you wouldn't get it. And finally, no, I did not sleep with any artist or person in the label or PR person or anyone, for that matter of fact, to get this job. I actually worked really hard to get here, something that for some reason seems to be an impossible thing for some female to do, because of course we all have to go out and get jobs the other way, apparently, according to you guys. Now that we've got that out of the way,
No, yeah, because there is this kind of stigma around women creatives, especially because I get it a lot, no matter where I'm like, if I'm photographing any man, it does not matter the age bracket, it does not matter the genre, it does not matter their sexuality, for Christ's sake. That could be a gay man up on that stage and someone's going, "You're definitely doing something with that man."
I know it's like, oh yes, because you think I have the power in me to turn that.
But also like I don't even know who I'm photographing. Their manager reached out to me yesterday, like I don't know
Exactly.
why I'm here. I don't But no, it is sad, and it's sad that like we're not taken as seriously as other people. Um it's just frustrating as a photographer, even just with my little point and shoot all the way up to my big body with lenses and everything, that there's just kind of this like side eye and like constant, there must be an ulterior motive. It's not, this is just what I love doing, and I would love if you credited me for my work, or at the very least, didn't remove my watermark. Otherwise, I'll
Exactly.
just start plastering it on people's faces, and then you'll be really upset because you can't see the photo.
Yeah. I have already planned with my first job that I have coming up uh for photos that there will be a watermark on every corner of the photo and on the artist's nose.
Like, what if I just start doing this?
Oh, no, actually, what if they crop it and it's just as guitar they want? That's not smart. You have to put it in every single corner of the photo.
Well, it's still there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
It's
But
just,
I was
yeah,
thinking like your name. You know, like name, your name, your username on social media, your watermark just
just
everywhere.
cut it
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Have you seen that chart of like every potential crop you could do for a photo? Just put it
Yeah.
on every crop line.
hmm
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of cool mag is someone who worked with Michael last year. Um,
Mm.
I think it was last year. They did some really cool photo shoots, stunning, cool, whatever. They had to make a little statement very recently saying, don't use our photos to make profit for yourself. You do not have the licensing, you do not have our permission, blah, blah, blah. And again, it all boils down to respect. You would not steal like a painting from someone and claim it as your own.
No.
So why would you do it with a photograph? Like you just didn't take that, and that's okay. It's okay that you didn't take that, and it's
Yeah.
okay that you think it's cool. It's okay that this photo of Luke is going a bit mad within the fandom. I'm like very grateful for that. I think it's so awesome seeing my work everywhere. But the fact that I'm finding it because people are going, "Is this your photo?" rather than just being tagged is like that's what I'm struggling with. Just put my at name in the caption of something. It doesn't affect the photo whatsoever. It doesn't affect your tweet. It doesn't affect your post. Like, just tag me.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's also why I made a point when we had Fan Friday. I made a point because I knew how much time you'd spent on this tour and taking photos of going in, finding one of your posts and posting it on our stories, but noticed that you were tagged. I mean,
hmm
for one, when you actually repost from the account, it shows up anyway. But I tagged you just the same as I did Andy DeLuca, just the same as I did all of the different artists whose posts I did because that's what it's about. It's not about going, this is cool. I'm gonna post it so that people care about it. It's like, hello, I want other creatives to succeed. Apparently, that isn't normal. Who would have thought? Going straight off of that to another one that has been really bugging me. Fan theories and Easter eggs can be fun, but not when they get into your personal life.
hmm
You should not be you should not be trying to figure out when, where, Taylor Swift is getting married because it's none of your business. You should not be, if I see one more post acting like it's some moral high ground that I saw baby Hemmings, but I didn't post the baby's face. Yeah, duh, because you're not supposed to. It's not, oh my goodness. You shouldn't. Also,
hmm
to the choice words here, to the person who decided to make a fan edit of Lua. Are you kidding? That is a child. That is a child.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, ew. No. I don't
Yeah.
even like I find some fan edits of regular musicians like kind of gross. But to do that for a child is like and put that on the internet attached to your name. Like the feds know where to find you.
With Taylor Swift in particular, I do think where she's at right now, unfortunately, is starting to like backfire on her. Um, and I'm not saying this like I know her personally. I'm just saying from the patterns that we've seen in the last 20 years with her music, she did used to Easter egg personal things. She used to capitalize letters and spell out people's names and locations and stuff. That did used to happen
Mm.
because the fandom was this big. Now she's astronomically massive, and she has made a point of saying that the Easter eggs aren't personal anymore. Um, you might get the odd like personal friend who makes an Easter egg, but even then it's not really personal because it's not to do with her life. She's just got someone to like jump on, right? But people are taking that same logic from 20 years ago and applying it now and trying to find these really deeply personal niche Easter eggs that just aren't there and are not okay to try and look for because she is so astronomically massive now compared to how teeny tiny she was in debut when she was writing Sam or whatever in the notes of her lyrics. Like, it's not, you've got 20 people looking at that and that's not that deep. You now have 20 million people looking for something and it is suddenly a bit more dangerous.
Yeah. But the thing that has been nuts to see is she left the house and she wore the same color 2 days in a row. It wasn't the same outfit, the same color 2 days in a row. And everyone now thinks the new album's on the way.
Yes, I've seen that. I've seen the silk theories because she's worn a silk dress twice.
Yep, there's that as well.
Um,
There was
I'm
another
like,
thing. Yeah. There was another thing where a fan created a fake countdown and said, like, Taylor Swift's doing this thing, and everyone's just like, just ran with it. There were like news outlets running with it, and I'm just like, I went and looked because I'm like, hey, I don't think so. And there was nothing on her website, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure if this was real, it would be on the website. We would have gotten emails. Like, if an artist wants you to know something, you're gonna know.
yeah. I also think as well with Taylor and her career spanning so long, um, is that the fans have somehow managed to trace every single thing back to something,
Mm,
which is where the Easter eggs then get like fishy and weird because like something has happened every single day for the last 20 years. That's inevitable. So like the whole like numerology and everything that was going around Reputation, Taylor's version coming out on August the 28th of a certain year because of something that happened sometime 16 years ago and blah blah blah. It's like, well, yes, when you've been doing a career for so long and it spans for 20 years, of course you can find something that happened on this date, this time, at this place, because you've basically been everywhere and done everything.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there are times where Easter eggs are not invasive and they're kind of funny. Like,
Hmm.
I wasn't surprised when we ended up. Um, Now I live in New Zealand, so I don't actually know if my timings are right because keep in mind I went to sleep in between this. But I think 12 hours after we got Noah Khan's The Great Divide, we ended up with The Great Divide, the The Great Divide Debugs, something about debugs, like a deluxe album essentially. I wasn't surprised because there was a lot of hints around bugs and things that it was kind of like, oh yeah, of course. Um, but what I did not do is go, hmm. There's a lot of hints around bugs. I'm going to assume this, this, and this about his personal life.
It's
It's
the same with Taylor when she released the Torture Poets Department. And every time she mentioned it, she was going, I was like, see, that's a thing. And then what, a week later, well, I don't even think it was a week later, I think it was a day later, we got a whole second album for it
it was
because
same
she
day for
spent the
me.
whole rollout going,
Yeah, it was same day for me because I remember the album came out while I was working, and I don't know how I got away with this, but I somehow managed to convince my manager that it was incredibly important that we turn the work radio off and we blast a new album through my phone. I ended up having to turn it off because it was a family score and I was blasting that. So I turned it off, ended up going home and listening to it. And by the time I finished the album, the next one was out, and I was like, what? Um, but that is funny. That sort of
Hmm.
thing where it's like a hint that like jokes on you, there's actually two, like it's a double album, stuff like that is funny,
Hmm.
but not when it gets personal. There's other things that I've seen that are funny, like with Five Sauce, where people are looking back and going, there are early eras, like I think the last Five Sauce tour, there were like Callum was wearing a lot of t-shirts with stars on them, and I think at one point Luke, I want to say Luke, I might be wrong, I can't remember. The photo was cropped. Somebody had a guitar strap that had stars all over it. Um, all of that sort of stuff. That is funny. It's probably a coincidence. It may not be
Hmm.
because who knows? But it is funny to look back on that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Callum also had in Teeth Live from the Vault, his guitar strap had star star CDH star star. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And I
Yeah.
noticed that when I was making like my own fan-made video for Evolve,
Yeah.
and that's how I found it.
And the other thing is, and now this one was entirely done on purpose, but the end of Side Quest, where, um, no, it wasn't the end of Side Quest, it was Side Quest Live. They ended up going online for like a little bit for a stream. And at the end of that stream where Michael had the like, are you ready or will you be joining us little thing?
Hmm.
That was fairly obvious what it was at the
Hmm.
time. But some people are like, the way that he Easter egged that was really cool. That is an Easter egg. That is actually, I mean, that's an outright hint. That's like outright playing right in your face and getting fans hyped up. That is what I want to see you guys talking about all across social media, not someone's kid, someone's wedding, someone's breakup. None of your business.
Hmm.
Um, the next one, fandom language and inside jokes, and when it goes too far. There are some things that are funny that the bands sort of start themselves or the artists start themselves. And there are other things that you should not be calling your favorite artist. There are specifically some musicians that I have seen that are up and coming, and especially when there are more than one artist, like if it's a band, please, please, please don't put one artist up in order to insult the other. Stereotypes are not needed either. If a band is new and you've just recently gotten into them and you don't know their names, fine, but let's not talk about them by going, oh, the insert slur here one. Or essentially what I'm getting at is don't don't go around comparing bandmates for no necessary reason, going, this one's, the one that's fatter than the other, or the one that's insert slur here. If you don't know their names and you're trying to tell them apart, like what they have different roles within the band, like the bass player, the drummer, the singer. Talk about them that way rather than having to put them down. Don't don't make a joke about how one person that there's a lot that I've seen about like, oh, this bandmate has no brain cells, but this one's perfectly fine. Like that people see that. It's not nice. It's not kind. There's a lot of like, especially for female artists, the second that they and most of the time they gain weight and they become a healthy weight, and then suddenly it's like, oh haha, imagine if she's pregnant. You also, number one, you don't know if this is actually a woman who's able to have kids or if she's currently struggling because she can't have kids. Number two, you shouldn't be talking about anyone's bodies. It's, it doesn't. Doesn't matter. As long as they're healthy.
I
You
agree.
shouldn't be talking about their sexualities because it's none of your business. And if they come out, that's still none of your business. It's not something for you to change. It's not something for you to create dialogue around.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of speculation around Five Sauce's pronouns, which makes me laugh because like there are people that are obviously joking when they're like, Luke's just a baby girl and he's such a princess, right? Obviously, that's a joke. Um, because that's a fully grown man with a wife and a child. Like, that's
Mm.
obviously not a princess. But stuff like that I find is funny when it's like purposefully over dramatized and like very obviously so loudly a joke. It's when it's like you're not quite sure and you're like, that's when it gets, I don't want to say dangerous because I don't think it's that serious. It can be in some cases, but in this one case, it's not that serious. Um, but it's when the grand scheme, um, if we don't know that you're joking, it can very quickly get out of hand. It can very quickly spiral into lots of other different things, lots of other conversations, lots of other topics. And that's where it gets a bit fuzzy because it then just kind of opens doors for unnecessary comments, for people to show prejudice and discrimination, which in some ways, thank God you're showing your true colors, but like we don't need to have that so continuously in these spaces that are meant to be safe for people.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, there's a case with Tor specifically. I keep making jokes about me and Ashton because we started Tor as best friends, and now he's my nemesis, my arch enemy. And I say that as a joke. Well, I I say it as a joke in terms of like, no, we were never actually best friends. That's
Yeah.
parasocial. And no, we're not actually arch enemies. That's also parasocial. However, he did laugh in my face and lie to me, so I am a little bit hurt. But he's just a drummer of a band that I like. It's just not that serious. We're never actually best friends. We're never actually going to hate each other. We don't know each other at the end of the day. We know of each other. I love his band. He knows me as a fan. That's it. That's as far as it goes. But he
Yeah.
did hurt my feelings.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty similar to like it's not that hidden. If you look, you'll find it. There's one musician who likes a lot of my posts, and somebody screenshot it and sent it to me, in a group chat, and said like, "What the hell is that, your man?" And I thought they were joking because usually, like, if I say something like that to you or to
Mhm.
most other people I'm friends with, like, it's sort of like a ha ha ha, is that your man? And so as a joke, I responded with like, yeah, that's my man, but it was more like a yeah, like that's my favorite sort of
Mhm.
like that's my bias sort of thing. Um, I then had to address the fact that I do not know said musician's relationship status. That is not my man, because unfortunately, these people are very, very serious people who immediately went, that wasn't funny. But see, I also didn't understand that because there was someone else in that group chat who we all thought was joking about another musician being their man. Turns out that that person genuinely seriously believed that that was their man. It is not the same one that has recently caused some problems by genuinely believing that they have two men. The amount of in every fandom that I'm a part of, the amount of people who like genuinely believe that they're with the person is like actually terrifying. Because I'm like, especially if that case that we've just talked about. I'm like, two? Like one wasn't enough. You
Married,
needed two?
nonetheless.
Yeah. And
Honestly, and it's just I every now and again I have to like clarify on my own Twitter. Like I will always talk about Callum being my man. Um, and every once in a while I just go, just so you guys know, I'm joking. I don't actually think this. I'm doing this. He's doing that. We don't know each other. It's not serious. Which is crazy because I feel like I don't have to say that because I know I'm joking, but it's because I know that other people are so serious about these things, are so serious, and they genuinely believe. I mean, I appreciate that people think I am good looking enough to genuinely pull him, and I that's a very sincere compliment to me. However, that is not the case, unfortunately. That is not the case. He is just my man because he's my lane, he's my bias, he's my favorite member. That's it.
yeah,
He is
exactly.
very good looking then.
I do get that. And that is one thing where I had a conversation with a friend recently where I said, I was like, we were talking about like different things and how funny it was that like we always end up in the same patterns. And then I responded with like, yeah, I'm obviously gonna marry a musician one day. Now I said that because I have dated a few local musicians. Now, unfortunately, said friend screenshot that conversation between us and posted it. And then decided to comment a musician I could potentially date. And it made me look, because it was taken out of context, it made me look like I was actively in said musician's DMs, being like, I think we're supposed to get married one day, which was not the case. And besides, she also actually got the wrong member of the band. If I was to be interested in any of them, she got the wrong one. Another one's my type. That's not the point, though. The point is, I then had to message her like 500 times, been like, take it down. People are starting to message me, please take it down. Thankfully, she did, but context matters
Hmm.
because that is why I purposely now, like, if someone is my lane, I don't say that they're my man. I say that, like,
Hmm.
they're my bias or my favorite, or like, I'm a little bit, like, what's the word? I just like, I lean more towards connecting with their work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Drawn.
Yeah, I'm more drawn to them than like, and it doesn't mean that I think that anyone else is bad. It's just like, for example, my brother's a drummer, and so it sort of means that every time I go and see a band, I'm sort of like drawn to trying to photograph the drummer because I come from trying to get good photos of my brother who's always at the back of the stage in the worst lighting. Does
Hmm.
that mean that Ashton's my favorite? It actually does, but that happens to be because his solo music is stuff that I connect with more. But then if I was to see, um, for example, if I was to see a local Kiwi band, is the drummer my favorite? No, it's the lead singer. Why is the lead singer my favorite? Honestly, because his curl routine is insane. It's random. I don't choose the favorites, they choose me. Like, do I think that I'm dating my favorite person from every single band? No, I'm not married to any musicians. I don't want that right now. Um,
I there was another instance on tour where I wore a shirt that said dibs on the bassist because it leans into the era aesthetic very well. With the whole dibs on the bassist. I also had a shirt that said like my boyfriend's literally on stage, and I saw other people with shirts that said like save a drum. This type of vibe, I guess. But yeah, mine said dibs on the bassist, and Ashton made a point of saying he didn't like it, which I think is hilarious. So, but this is because me and Ashton, we get on well. Like I said earlier, we know of each other, but we don't know each other. Um, we just kind of get each other's humors, and we're able to kind of laugh about that. In the same interaction, Callum saw my shirt, winked at me, and gave me a little finger gun, right? So like it's fine. He likes it, Ashton doesn't, and I tweeted about it, and I said that stinks of jealousy. Um, People thought I was serious. Do I
Yeah,
actually think Ashton Owen wants me and he's mad that I'm a Callum girl? No, obviously not. Obviously not.
yeah.
Obviously not.
So the next thing, which is quite a big thing, for some reason nobody can agree, and so we haven't actually talked about this beforehand, so I'm really interested to see if we agree or not. Concert camping, camping out for concerts, such a big conversation.
Okay. Okay. I have a lot of mixed thoughts on this. So
Yeah,
I have camped in the past, so I can't fully be like, I'm against it because I've done it, right? Except I did it 8 years ago. Um, and I don't think I've done it that much. I think I genuinely only did it for the Five Sauce Meet You There tour. So I did
that
it for
feels
like two
like
nights.
ages ago.
Yeah, that was in 2018. I did it for 2 nights because I went to both shows and I had VIP for both shows. And that was in the time that they were doing smaller venues, so they sold out within like 10 minutes. It was like it kind of gave the impression of like higher demand, even though they were smaller venues, right? So even though they're selling more tickets now, but they're not selling out the venues, it's like a different kind of vibe. But so I've done it before, so I can't fully be like, I'm against it, I'm against it, I'm against it. I do think if that is something you choose to do, because I'm not gonna say don't do it. Because ultimately it is up to you. If that is something you choose to do, make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you're drinking, make sure you're eating, make sure you're warm, make sure you're showered, make sure you're taking care of people around you. There are so many things that go into it to make sure it's smooth sailing. When I tell you when I camped for Five Sauce when it was in Brixton, which is a really rough area of London, we ended up with the venue security outside with us because we had 3 men continuously circling us. There were 3 men circling us saying they were going to. So we had security out with us, and consistently kind of chasing these men off. So also be aware of the area you want to camp in because some areas are much safer than others. There also, I think there needs to be a conversation around the type of venues you camp for and the type of experiences you camp for. Because, for example, I'm going to use Five Sauces tour as an example because it's a very recent tour and I had queued for it and never camped, but I'd queued for it and I had all the different VIP packages and whatever, so I kind of know a little bit about every part of the show.
Yeah.
If you have the like highest tier of VIP, which in Five Sauce's case was the Star Pit, I
Unless you're in
promise
New
you,
Zealand. Unless you're in New Zealand,
yeah,
then
or America, but
yeah.
whatever. The point is, these are the examples I'm using. Um, if you have the highest tier of VIP, which is for Five Sauces was the Star Pit, you get the earliest entry. You go in first before any other VIP anyway, which I'm sure is the case for every artist's highest VIP thing.
Yeah.
You go in first anyway. You don't need to camp overnight. You can queue. You can queue from like, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning if that's something you want to do, but I would recommend you get a full night's sleep and you come out really early in the morning if that's something you want to do, rather than camping, especially if you have this VIP that lets you in early. I did Star Pit 3 times for Five Sauce. I queued from 7, I think, every time, 7 in the morning, so I was getting a full night's rest, coming up to the venue after sunrise, all this stuff, just to make everything safer and easier and whatever. And I was barrier every single time. It
Noted.
it does not. I was front barrier for London and then back barrier for Paris and Stockholm.
I think the culture is also really different in New Zealand. Um, it's rare for people to camp, and what you tend to see is that if people are camping, it tends to be because they have actually flown in from another country and they still want barricade. One thing I also will say as a Kiwi, and I understand that this is gonna shake some feathers. I actually personally, because New Zealanders don't get many shows. We're lucky to get one show from our favorite artist. If you're flying in internationally, like back off. Let someone else have barricade. And I'm saying this as someone because you you see it. Basically, you see a whole bunch of tents and you sort of wait for the accents because you know that it's not going to be a Kiwi accent. And they are pushing and shoving and getting to the front of the queue. This is a Kiwi show. If this is a New Zealand show, let the New Zealanders actually get a chance. Because the other thing, and it happens at every show, and I know that this is not something that you guys want to hear, and I know I'm going to get so many angry messages about this. Every single concert I've been to that was in Auckland, in Christchurch, in Wellington, someone holds up a sign going, I came here from America. And it turns into a whole big thing. And then they start chanting their national anthem. We've
We
been
had that
waiting.
with Harry's maybe Love on Tour, maybe Live on Tour. I can't remember. Probably both. Where
Mm,
US fans specifically would fly over to the London show when the US is getting residencies that are, 2, 3 weeks long and London gets 2 dates, and it's like,
yeah. It pisses me off so badly because it's like there's a certain entitlement from a certain group of fans. And I have already seen that a certain group plans on being at the Auckland shows. And it pisses me off so badly because they are the entitled people who camp out and then they push and shove and they get to the front of the barricade. And I just know that there is some poor Kiwi girl who saved up every last cent to try and get to the front, to try and finally get barricade because this band means a lot for them. And they aren't going to get that. And even if they do get that, then they'll get pushed and shoved by these fans. And like, and these fans would have been getting barricade at their own shows in their own country and are now trying to get it in another country. And it just, and then you'll hold up some sign about how you flew in from America and you'll do things to get the artist's attention. And then some poor Kiwi fan who has a sign like, I've been waiting 10 years for this, or this is what you guys mean to me, gets no attention because the fans who have flown all this way always get the attention. And I mean literally always. And
yeah.
it's just, I hate it. Um, I think New Zealand works really well in you don't really need to camp out because they usually have like numbered, like it doesn't matter what sort of VIP you have, like pit is usually numbered, and then you've got early entry for the top VIP. It's pretty like New Zealand really likes to randomize things and
Mhm.
like fair chance. Like we're so about being fair and everyone gets a chance and gets an opportunity. Because that's the Kiwi culture, I think it really does become obvious when tourists ruin that.
Mhm.
And it is so sad to see. It's just so sad to see.
Even when I was traveling around Europe to see Five Sauce, seeing the difference in this like queuing culture from London to Belfast to Stockholm to Paris, like all of these different cities all around the UK, Europe and Ireland, like just the differences was insane. And yeah, generally Europe is a very close, like in terms of land, we're this big, we're this
Mm,
big, we're this close, Um, but yeah, for camping culture, I think if you're going to do it, keep yourself safe, do all of the right things. I get it, I've been there, I've done that. But I do think it is vastly more important to get a full night's rest. And if that
mm,
means you're going to bed at 8 p.m. the day before to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, fine, so be it. At least you've slept in a bed and you've like rested your body properly because I promise you, even if you get 10 hours sleep on the concrete floor, it's not the same as getting 6 hours sleep in a bed. Like,
Yeah. And that's
just
another
very.
thing is like my mum's a nurse and she's already planning on putting a little first aid kit in her bag because she knows that this is the first time she's going to be in the pit with me.
Mhm.
Um, and that's even when I'm photographing shows, it is something that I'm like so aware of, is that there's always tends to be at least a fan that like passes out or something.
Mhm.
Um, it is also something that I've become worried about myself, as I'm like, I mean, it's never happened, and I don't think it would because I'm not someone who like that happens for. I always get a lot of rest. I always like I know my limits. Um, but it is something where I'm like the whole week of the Five Stars concert leading up to it, I'm going to rest a lot more because I just know that I am going to jump more than I do for any other concert.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And it's just,
Also,
yeah,
sorry, in a similar vein, when it comes to like being in the crowd, like you're saying about the first aid kit and jumping more and people fainting and stuff, if you have, even if you haven't camped, but whether you've camped or not, and you've got your spot in the show, if you are prone to fainting, do not put yourself in that situation.
no,
I know that it might upset you to have to like consciously choose a seat or to consciously choose to be further back or to consciously choose a different part of the show depending on like if there's a place you can lean or if there's an access point that you need or whatever. That might change your plans and that might upset you. But no show is worth putting your body through damage, I guess. Like, especially if you're getting pulled over that barrier because you fainted in the opening act, you're not even seeing the main act at that point. Like, then you've ruined it for
yeah,
yourself for even longer because you've missed the entire show. Um, but yeah, it's when you're in the pit as well, you still need to be taking care of yourself. You don't just get your spot and f- faint and wet yourself and hold your ground like that. You still need to drink, you still need to eat. If you need to leave to go to the bathroom, then you do so. Like, there is, you just need to be conscious about what you're doing and how you're treating your body and how you are treating those around you. If people around you are prone to fainting, there might be ways that you can help. Um, if you're prone to fainting, try and do what you can to keep yourself up, I guess. But I for one, am not prone to fainting. I never really have fainted at a show. Um, the Five Star Show was the closest I've ever got to fainting at a show because there is three songs in a row that are like three of my favorite Five Star songs. So I'm
mm,
screaming and jumping more in those three songs than ever before. And every single show after those three songs, I'm stood there like, whoa. And I feel like my body go heavy and like, luckily, I never fainted. But there are signs. Um, it, there is just no show, no artist, no nothing worth damaging your body for, be that you've chosen to camp and you've made yourself sick, or be that you have had an accident in the pit because you refused to take care of yourself, or you have fainted or passed out because you've done something or not done something like hydrate and eat. There's no artist that's worth any of that.
yeah. That is one thing that I've considered is because I'm not prone to fainting, but one thing I do know is I'm like, okay, I need to make sure the entire week leading up to it that this is specifically Five Stars because I know I'm going to jump a lot more. I'm like, I need to make sure that I'm eating stuff that cannot upset my immune system because my immune system is very like, it's very touch and go. And then I'm like, but I need to make sure that day of I have still eaten enough of the
Mhm.
right stuff so that I'm not like hungry and likely to pass out. Again, never have before, but just making sure. I'm also going to make sure I have my pills on me because if something does decide, there's lots of warning signs, but usually you don't medicate until like after that, versus you can sort of take something in the warning sign. So I would in this case. So that's all things like I'm checking in with my doctor, making sure that like I am really, really healthy. I have goals of where I want to be at before the 5 star show because I'm like, I just really want to make sure that as much as possible this immune system stuff is sorted. On top of that, another thing I've done, and I know it's not the same as jumping, but I have the set list all on one playlist, and I have done it multiple times. At least once a week, I go through the entire set list on the treadmill because I want to know if I can at least run this whole thing, start to finish, then I can stand the whole time. I can jump for a few songs. But yeah, like know your limits because in the back of my mind, I still have the potential that if my immune system, and I don't think it will, and I really hope it doesn't, but if it did decide to go for a patch of being worse again, I would trade the tickets and go and get seated tickets ahead of time. On top of that, there is a part of me, because I am going with my mother, there is a part of me that wonders if she should be standing for that long. And so if mum was to come to me and say, hey, I can't stand for that long, I'd be like, all right, I'm a bit bummed about it, but I guess we're sitting. And then I'd also go and make sure that we could sit as close as possible. But obviously that's not quite the same if I do end up having to change the tickets this late in the game. But anyway, that's been this week's episode of Mill on the Mic. Have a groovy week.